All right, so the first two episodes of Snowfall season 6 was really good, really good. And the one thing that kind of caught me off guard was like the first episode where, the little girl lost her father, and then I guess the grandfather, I think, went over and was just like, hey, what's going on, this and that. And, her father didn't come back home, so, they go check it out, and then we see that he's dead because after, Franklin killed them. But the one thing that we always forget about is that if you are a drug dealer, gang member, or whatever, it's like, they have families. They have families, and we always forget about that. We like, yeah, he was a bad guy. He did wrong, but we always got to remember some of these people had girlfriends, wives, children. Oh, boy. Like, they had all of that. And to just see that, and I know this is going to play into something like later in the story because it's starting to look that way. It's really starting to look that way because we see like later on Franklin is talking to Dion because he's like, hey, I could cut you like 10 a key, and I know Jerome is cutting you like 12. So he was like, all right, well, we'll talk about that. Dion is really loyal to Jerome. He's like, listen, I'd rather deal with you. I don't want to deal with Franklin. I don't even want to get in that beef or that which I got. So he was just like, oh, all right. So they set up a plan, a messed up plan. I mean, it wasn't really messed up because they got the cops in their pocket. So Dallas and Diamond, Black Diamond, come up. He says, all right, pop the trunk. Then you see Jerome getting out the car. Jerome like, hey, where my money? Where's my drugs? and they like, oh, again, because Franklin, he was smart because after everything that happened with Peaches, which was crazy. I mean, you can't really blame Peaches in season 5 because Peaches was already messed up and he had the bug or something, and he took the money and I guess maybe ran to Thailand or somewhere. So that's kind of like up in the air. And then, oh God, Jerome came up and beat the hell out this woman and killed her. He beat the hell out of her and killed her. So we went from Jerome back in season 1, where's the bitches at, to now him beating bitches in streets and killing them. I'm like, Jerome. Oh, my God. Jerome. But the one thing about this season, I guess, is going to really tell about loss. I think this season is going to really be talking about loss, about not only just about money and drugs, but about family and the little things that matter. And for, like, the first 2 episodes to seeing, I'm like, damn, like, that's what we going with? We really going with that? Like, yo. Because we see in episode 2 where Scully, I know I haven't talked about him, but yo, Scully, he went from, he still is crazy, but now he's like a guy who's still a crazy man, but he also is a spiritual one. So, and those are the ones that's really, really dangerous. If you have a man who's very spiritual and he's a sociopath, and he's dangerous. But I like how he was saying that, hey, you should make peace with your family, and he gave them both like good luck charms or whatever, and then you see like Louis just throws it down on the ground and just walks off. So I'm like, uh-oh, is it dooming her fate that she might actually die? So I was like, oh my God. But getting back over to episode 1, because I'm jumping back and forth because it was a lot here. It was a lot. So after when, Gustavo, he comes back, and it looks like, yeah, he took the deal with the DEA because they working together, and he's just like, hey, we're going to bring down Teddy and this and that, and where's the drugs? And it's crazy because now it's basically war on everybody. Everybody's at war, so sort of, because, the DEA still haven't forgiven what happened with the whole CIA and that girl who died. I hated her. She died. Like, she was she died, but they still haven't forgiven that, right? So the mission is still to bring down Teddy. And then we seen that, well, in episode 2 where Franklin actually meets Ruben, and they get to talking and got him under like the recording of him saying that how he met Teddy captured him, and then kind of gets tortured him, and then they got to working together. So I like that, where it's kind of like, they're working with the KGB to try to expose everything that's going on. So basically, I don't even see Teddy walking out of this unscathed. I really don't, because he's either going to die or be thrown in jail. And then you have his money. Well, you have Franklin's money that he kind of took, which we've seen in episode 2, where he was talking with V's mom, Cassandra, and she was explaining about, like, oh, he had help to do this, to take the money, to impersonate you. So it was a lot of work, and I like how she was breaking it down to Franklin that it was a lot of work to take his money, which she was like, listen, man, I want like 20%. Because after when she heard, like when V was telling her, like, hey, it's like 73 million, like 73, again, like I said in my last video, 73 million. You hear that type of money, you like, I mean, it's close to 100, but it's like 73. Yo, you could do a lot with 73 million, to be honest. So it's like, hey, I like to see what more she's gonna do, because I'm pretty sure she's gonna be able to like track down Franklin's money. But the question is, will he even get his money back, and will it even be worth it? All this bloodshed and death just to get the money back, but will it be worth it if you don't have anything at all, or even if Franklin is still alive at the end? That's the big question. And I feel like it's gonna come down to it. This whole thing is really about like loss and choosing, because when Sissy was talking to Franklin, she was just like, okay, who you gonna choose? When she was like getting on him, and she was like, listen, are you gonna choose your own government, or are you gonna choose me? And it's like, what he gonna do? Like, he said he chooses her, and for now he still is gonna stick to that. Like, he's gonna choose her. Then he later was talking with Kane. He was talking with Kane about certain things where he was explaining to him, like, I don't know where they at. And he like, listen, you better figure it out, like, find where they are, or it's going to be problems. So they still have that Kane problem there, which is understandable, because, there was a deal that was struck, but then Louis was just like, screw the deal, I'm just going to go off on my own. And on her own she did, and it caused a lot of friction, a lot of tension. And Kane is kind of like wondering if he's ever going to walk again or whatever. So that's something. And then, oh boy, we get to the last part. We get to the last part of it where, well, before we get to the last part, Teddy was talking with Gustavo about, like, who found, like, who is this guy, well constructed. And then Gustavo talks to Franklin, and he's just like, listen, man, you got to give me Teddy's location, because in episode 1, Franklin was talking with one of Alton's guys to try to figure out, like, everything about where, like, his family, where his father lives. Like, he's trying to get, like, information. So I think that's gonna, like, play into that too, where Gustavo he's gonna be switching sides. I think he's gonna be like switching sides, or more like playing people, I should say, to survive, because all this is about loss and survival and who's gonna come out on top. So, and since Franklin promised them, he's just like, hey, I could get you like 10 million. So I hope that Gustavo doesn't think that maybe, because from what I guess he was explaining to his girlfriend, I think, about the DEA, I guess, bugged the place. Like, I guess they bugged the place. So it had nothing to do with Franklin. So I'm thinking that if he takes Franklin on his offer to give him Teddy, then he gets the 10 million. And if he gets the 10 million, then maybe he might screw the DEA, or maybe he still gets the 10 million and then gives them Teddy. So Teddy's screwed. Teddy's screwed, right? And lastly, we can get to the part with Jerome and Franklin, because Franklin and Jerome, when they was talking, and he was just like telling them the story about how he was in Texas and things wasn't working out, and then he come out to LA, and then he figured he can raise Franklin as a son, because Alton was with the Black Panthers, and then he kind of like lost his way. And then Franklin, well, he was basically telling Franklin, he was just like, I feel like I failed you, you became bitch made and this and that. And Franklin responded like, yo trick of a wife. And then when I think about it, I was like, wait a minute. Yeah, he right. He kind of right. Because I was like, yeah, she was in the greatest, but she kind of like came in, But overall, he was talking, words was exchanged. Jerome punched him a couple of times. Then Franklin pulls out the gun. He's like, do it. Shoot me now. Do it. And then Franklin was just looking around because everyone sees it, and then he gets off and walk. I like how they was playing the song, I think, Into the Darkness. Oh, my God. Like, that was like, perfect, because I thought, like, the song, it was good because it was like, this is what Franklin is becoming, like, diving into, because his back is against the wall. He doesn't have any money. But I like when Sissy and Jerome had, like, the talk, because technically it wasn't Jerome's fault. Jerome really wanted to like be in the middle, and he told Louis, he was like, listen, I don't want this beef, I don't want this war. But if she would have helped Franklin, then it wouldn't have been that way. It would have been different if she would have helped him, but she didn't. She's like, listen, screw you. Teddy took your money. He didn't take our money. And it's like, again, I said it in my last video, it's like, how can you be this naive? If he took Franklin's money, what do you think he could do to you two in the end? And then they will be left with debt, and they will be left with a lot of responsibility. So it was like, she got too big for her britches, and I'm strongly looking at Louis' death this season. I'm strongly looking at it because I'm like, you kind of like pulled Jerome into this. Like, he didn't want to. He says like, I don't want to go to war with him. Like, we good. But she's like, no, we need to. And I'm like, oh no. But yo, it was a lot to unpack here. It was a lot to see. I know that child might play into a factor because actually Jerome and Louis, I don't think Louis can have kids. So I think Jerome might adopt her. Who knows? Well, no, because the grandfather. Nah, I don't think so. But I don't know what can happen. Like, there's a lot of things that's going to happen. A lot of betrayals I can see. I can kind of see a lot of betrayals because even though Cassandra, wants to help out and make this deal, but what if, I don't know, V and Cassandra, like, if they can't come to, like, a good term with Franklin, if things just doesn't work out. I understand she's staying loyal to Franklin, but if her back is like pushed against the wall, then what if they just take the money and split? Because I feel like that conversation would come up. Like, Cassandra be like, listen, $73 million, I mean, we can kind of split with this money. It's a lot. I'm telling you, it's a lot. So that's kind of like up there. $73 million, right? Plus Gustavo's impending decision making on what to do. Either help Franklin. I don't know if Gustavo will have any loyalty towards Teddy. I don't know. I don't think so, but I don't know. There's a lot to look at. But overall, I thought the 2 episodes is good. A lot of crazy shit gonna happen, and we just gonna have to wait and see. But comment down below what you think of everything. Like, comment, subscribe, and share, and I will catch you all in the next one.